Welcome back, everybody. Am I even here? Yeah, I'm here. Okay. Episode 299. It is 8 o'clock on the 30th of November. Today would be a Sunday. Thank you all for joining me. We're going to be taking a look at a bunch of really cool stuff that just came out over the last few days. So yeah, very relevant. If you're into image training, if you want to make better work, get better results, there's going to be a couple of tips you can pick up here for sure, because I've basically been cooking stuff up all day. And I got a new Lora training method for you for a Z-Image Turbo. Super easy, super cheap. Anybody could do it. Okay? Anybody could do it. Honestly, they've made it so easy for us. So I'm going to take you through that process tonight. So before we get started, don't forget, if you're watching live or if you're watching later, there are links in the description. You can join us on Discord. All the good stuff is there. scuffedepoch.com for all the links. All my live services and repos, you can find them all there. Just bring your own key. We've got over 30 apps up and running now. Like I said, I don't want your money or your data. I just want you to enjoy cool tools. So let's say hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you all for joining me once again. Fernicar says Battle Cruiser operational, liked and subscribed. Now, where were we? Capuli says, Zeus says hello. Corlin gives us a wave. Kurt Curtis is here. Hey y'all. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody. If you're here and chatting, thank you for getting involved. And if you're a lurker, consider just posting anything, because I do respond to stuff. Okay, that's the intro done. So again, last episode of season 2. This is a big one. I didn't expect us to be looking at something so cool. Okay, I didn't expect this. All right, I'm just going to cut straight to the chase so you guys can see what we're talking about. So here we have some images that we've just recently made with a Lora I just finished. Okay, now this is obviously a character which if you've been around, you'll know this is one of my characters. I've had it for a long time. Same face, same hair, same clothing. And then the backgrounds is also one of my corridor sets. And I want to teach you today about how regularization is cool again. It's been about a year since anybody's cared about it. If you're an old school guy and you know what it is, kudos, okay? Regularization, if I wanted to simplify what it means, is adding a set of images to your data set which do not include the character, if it's a character, all right? So empty scenes. So in my case, I used corridor art. Corridor art in the same style as the character right now, yeah? Can we just go left and right? No. Now, even though I will admit there is some strange stuff going on, I'm using a crazy horse to make these images, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that. It's basically just two agents back to back. I call it the double agent workflow. You have one agent which is enhancing your prompt, any prompt, and it's aware of all the captions in your Lora. That's how it works, okay? So you teach prompt enhancer to limit its suggestions to the words in your Lora. That's what I call a Lora aware prompt enhancer. And then you feed that straight into a anything to JSON, okay? Prompt to JSON. Because a lot of these models, they respond really well when using structured JSON. You can find more information about that on the official Flux 2 website. They wrote an amazing article on it. I turned that into the custom node set which came out last week. That's Flux 2 JSON. It's not just for Flux 2. You can use it with WAN, you can use it with Quen, you can use it with anything that understands JSON. So if it has an LLM powering it, it'll work. So I've chosen position center, you know, different lighting effects and all this. It's all part of the thing. Heavily customizable. I do encourage people to tweak the system prompts I give out, okay? They should be good, but if you want to make them do stuff, you should just rewrite them. Use any LLM, it doesn't matter. You know, your results are what you get, you know. Are we going to depixelate? There we go. Now, when we zoom in, you can see that it's not quite as good as 122, but that would be an 18 gigabyte model, even, you know, so it's fine. I think this looks very good. It's not upscaled, okay? There's a few tricks here and there. But if you look for problems, you will find problems, you know, like for example here we can see that there are some sort of artifacts, I guess you could say, but this isn't upscaled, so that's important to note. So let's just run through, forget my work for a second, we've seen enough of these silly things. Let's have a look at a workflow, shall we? Yep. Now, just a note, all these workflows are already up. You can get them on DJZ Workflows, that is Mushroom Fleet on GitHub. You'll find my links everywhere, scuffdepot.com. Anyway, DJZ Workflows, it's pinned as well, so you can't miss it. Zimage Turbo folder, all right? So you can clone. I recommend cloning the whole repo and just doing a git pull every week or so. You'll get all the latest workflows easiest that way. But yeah, so since we brought out the basic stuff, so we had the T2I and the I2I and the instant forever. Don't worry about it, I just had a bit of fun. You can just leave it running and it'll just make cool images forever. Obviously you got to feed it, but it's just prompt lists. So anyway, we got the turbo structured JSON, which came out just the other day, and then we got the 4K upscale to show you, which is now working and looks great, really nice. I got a couple of tips to improve on the basic workflow, which gets given out. So there are a couple of things that anybody could add that would improve the output without changing any of the settings. So I'll cover that first when we jump into Comfy. So here is Lora Auto JSON and then Double Agent. Double Agent is what I was saying. It's this. It's not that. Where is it? Don't you love it when you open it up and it's not on the right page? Give me a sec. Is it this one? Yeah, it's that one. All right. Okay. So, slightly different. It's actually the same. I just cleaned it up a little bit. So, just to cover the stuff that's switched off, that's your upscaler. Tiled upscaling. You can choose what it goes up to here. There's a bunch of presets. I use 3072 base. It's like an auto aspect size node. So it doesn't matter what image comes in, it will keep it the same aspect size and it will tile it and then re-render it. You know, that's what we're doing. We're doing tiling at 0.2 denoise. It's the exact same trick I used with Flux last summer, same trick I used with WAN this summer, and it works with this one too. So just to sort of make that visible so you can see it. This is the same Flux boosted module that you just tag on the end. It's using the same prompt. It's using the same prompt. The image from the, the image from the text to image, and then we have tiled at 512. You can make that 256 if you have trouble. It'll just be slower. It's 512. So 3072. We have a number of different options if you have like the ability to make it go more, but I find this works great. Okay, so again, it is just the same default settings but 0.2, and we're tiling it in the way in and we're tiling it on the way out. Now there is something called hypertile, which is hello. Oh, I've got it in scrub mode. It's a cool feature actually that I forgot. Hypertile. Yeah. So this is actually a comfy core node, and I think we're going to give it a try now, okay? Because I haven't had a chance to try it out. So you can try this now. Obviously, I'm going to put it to 512 because that's what the rest is at. Okay. I call it an experiment. It worked well last time, so let's see if that improves it. But let's move on to the stuff which I know is better. Okay. First, number one. It's a Flux model, guys. So use boosted Flux. This is the same thing we used with Flux and Flux Schnell last year to make it good. The normal one has an aura sampling. If you look at the default workflow, there is an aura. There's one of these, and it's disabled. You'll notice it's disabled in the workflow, and you can delete it, and it doesn't matter, right? And so what I did was, back in the day, we swapped that out for this. So obviously you have to feed it with the width and height, but then I get those automatically from aspect size. I'm also using the Quen preset, which is 1328 by 1328. Don't ask me why, that's just what it was. The base model for Quen Edit was 1328 by 1328. Okay, so it's a little bit bigger than 1280 by 1280, but it's smaller than 1530. I mean, you know what numbers are, I don't mean to go on, but 16 to 9 at Quen, that gives you 1700 or something by 1024. 1792 by 1024. And as I say, it's giving us good work. So the backgrounds, this is my artwork for the anime corridors that we did years and years ago, recycled and reused in this project. The character is Thora, but she's more consistent. She has the same outfit now in almost every image. And then interestingly, because I used the upscaling technique, because of the regularization combined with a new idea I came up with, we've got the guns out of WAN. So this is like a sci-fi version of the AK machine gun or whatever, not AK, but the machine gun that we got in WAN 22. It would put like really, really realistic guns and everything. But anyway, let's talk about the data set before I go further into this. Can I just see if there's anything else? I think the only thing I had to do was put the model sampling Flux in. So attach the width and the height, put it in the model chain, and then I usually use 1 and 1, but I found 1 to 125 or 0.32 is very creative without going crazy. Okay, so then you get consistency with the character, and this is a pre-trained Lora. There's no tricks here. Here we go. There's your Lora, and that would be Z Image Turbo, Thora ZD VOD, Safe Tensors. Okay, and I'm feeding it with the caption set from the Lora that I just trained. So this prompt list is made up of the captions for the data set, which I'm now, testing. As you know, or if you didn't, This model uses the Flux VAE. It uses the Qwen 3 4 billion for the clip, which is why that's why it's so good at JSON, guys. It's got a good LLM. Lumina 2 for the preset there, and then I'm actually using ZImage Turbo Q8 right now, which is less than 8 gigabytes to run. So this is actually crazy because the amount of machines this can run on is insane. And I would say that the quality is comparable with something like WAN 22, and that's not even really an image model. So, but anyway. The ENH system, that's a custom node. You can pick that up, and these presets are already available, okay? I'm using OpenRouter for this one, so you've got to put a key in. But there's another version, which is GPT-5. So you know how Comfy now has native nodes. So if I type GPT, chat GPT. So you can do the exact same job with this, and then you can use the credits that you have in your Comfy account, if you use it that way. If you don't do that, then I recommend Ollama. If you're a silicon guy, you can do the exact same thing with Ollama Generate. It doesn't matter, it's the same thing, it's just a different way of getting the LLM. I don't judge, I think they're all great. But I bring in the OpenRouter version and the version that you can do built into Comfy, because that works with Comfy Cloud as well. But anyway, that there is the Zenkai ENH for whatever. That'll be your Lora. There is a general purpose one if you don't have a base. I can use T2i base and then feed it an image. That should help if you don't have any custom prompt agents. I've got general use ones in there, and they'll be on the GitHub. So when you get the nodes, you already have those, okay? As for the Direct Expert, I just added that. So if you've already got Zenkai ENH, either update the node to get the file or drop it in from the JSON, the Flux to JSON nodes. So anyway, like I say, I call this the double agent. So if we just take a quick look at what he did, as you can see, we've got the standard prompt. We can make this better as well. We'll do that in a minute. Okay. And then here we have another one. I'm going to show you a neat trick as well to deal with the... Can you see here? I'm interpreting this as a hide. That's going to cloud the text. It's going to cloud the clip. So what we do is very simple, right? I'm going to do this before we change the subject quick. So I use text concatenate, but to be honest, you could use string concatenate as well, because it's only two things we have to put together. Okay. Durfu nodes for this one, but you can use whatever you use to join two strings. And like I said, I'm going to prepend append. So at the moment, I want to lead this text. So this text is good, right? This is cool. But it's got commentary. And it's telling me like the word count and stuff. You know, we don't need all of that. So what I'll say is, I'll just say, we can, what is it? Ah, yes. The output should have no feedback or commentary. Normally I do this with like vision. You'll say, you know, describe the image in a single line paragraph without... In fact, I might just add that as well. It'd be nice if you could see it though, wouldn't it? Commentary. There we go. The output should have no feedback or commentary. I'm also going to say... okay. What is it? Write the output as a single line paragraph, comma, with no feedback. Right, there we go. With no feedback or commentary. I'll put one there. So I'm going to take the normal input and put that there. So now we're feeding write the output as a single line paragraph with no feedback or commentary. And then I'll change this to a colon. So now it's going to join it with a colon, not a comma, which it does understand. And if we're lucky, we just get a prompt out the other side, okay? And then for this one, obviously, we're going to do something similar, but this time it's going to be only the JSON, as JSON only. Only. No feedback or commentary. These chatbots are so chatty, you see. They just want to chat. Okay. No feedback or commentary. Do that as well. And then we do the same thing. It's like, you know, take that, put it in the back, plug that back there. Right. So I hope you can understand we just basically did a little pass through and added a little filter line in, a little sub instruction. And it is Sonnet 4.5, right? So if he can't do it, God help us. We'll just do one. All right, so that's like little things like that. You can obviously tweak the behavior and the output without changing the main agentic system prompt, which is what this is, system prompt, okay? Okay. So as you can see, we've now got just the prompt coming out of there, no feedback. Now, again, he can't help himself. This is actually invalid JSON because JSON doesn't start with comment JSON, right? So I've written nodes in the past that deal with that. Ooh. Did it just crash? Did it just crash? What the? I think it just crashed. Live. What happened? I don't remember turning that on. Oh, now I know what happened. I'm running out of hard drive space and he can't kick the upscaler in. That's fun. What? I wasn't even Give us a second. So again, don't worry guys, I don't have to do anything. Because Watchdog is online. It's almost like I have a hope for this to happen, huh? Right? So Watchdog is running. Oh no, my comfy just died. So I'm going to do nothing. And we're going to talk about something else, and when we come back it'll just be working. Or I'll shoot the Watchdog. Okay. So let's have a look at the training situation, shall we? So obviously you've heard of Ostrus Toolkit, Ostrus AI Toolkit. I'm going to be sharing a link in the Discord, which you'll be able to use. It'll be in the inside line. It's where I put all of the latest stuff I'm working on. So if I just come up here, the Discord link's in the description. Workflows, we just did a .NET system tray app with the latest cool TTS, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff. What's this? Banana to make pixels bake great again. Nano banana with the reference. We do all kinds of nonsense, but there will be a link in here which is going to, you know, show you what I'm looking at right now. You'll be happy to know that it's just a template, okay? So you can just come into RunPod and just launch it. Very easy, very easy. We might even just take it from the top. I don't know. I'll show you the thing first, because what's going on in it is the bit you want to get first. We can deal with getting in there after. So what am I looking at? First, let's look at data sets. So when you come into Ostrus AI Toolkit, it loads up like this, okay? And obviously you can click New Data Set. Now, when you click New Data Set, you give it a name, and then it'll ask you to upload them. Now, you don't have to drag in each image and put you can drag in all your images and all the text files in one go. So if you've got like 200 images with 200 text files, drag and drop them all in, it'll upload them all, and then they will appear. And you'll have something like this. Remember how I said it's got my backgrounds? This is part of the regularization set. Okay? So let's just go back and show you each of the sets we're going to actually be using. So the first one is Thora WAN v0. So this has got a whole bunch of SDXL, Midjourney, SD 2.1. There is no flux in here though. It's all old stuff, right? Old synth art. Okay, I hope you can see. It's pretty obvious. Sometimes they're like the wrong number of fingers. Sometimes it's all like weird physiology. But there's a bit of there's an emotion in it which I like. There's an expressiveness to it which is sometimes missed from the sanitized models that are high quality. So I like to sort of, pump it up a little bit by giving it this sort of stuff as part of the data. So this is all the same character. It's just from SDXL or Midjourney. Okay, so it's like last summer. Okay. Some of them are all right, though. I thought some of them come out great. Anyway, very sort of inconsistent, but we'll take an average of all this to make our character, so it doesn't matter. Okay. So then what we do is we get the regularization data. Now, as I said before, regularization data is in the same style, but doesn't feature the character, which means you can put a bit more attention on the detail in the backgrounds without losing detail or poorly training your character. Oh, we're back. See, watchdog, good boy. Someone give that dog a cookie. Give me a sec. So he's just fixed it for me, guys. Okay. Strange. I didn't have this on, I didn't think. Oh, it's because I was messing with Hypertile. Right, maybe that's a bad idea then. Right, let's run that and see if it crashes again. So anyway, regularization data. So as you can see, we've got all these different environments. They're mostly sci-fi mega city interior corridor. It's a sneaking. She's sneaking around, guys. She's sneaking around in the secret underground military whatevers. Right? That's the book that she's in. Or part of the book that she's in. That's her big bit in the book. She's got to sneak around. So I wanted a really good model for illustrating those scenes. So these are the backgrounds from, to be honest, I kind of did it. Listen, guys, I cheated a little bit, all right? The inside of the airships look just like the inside of the megacity. I did the same thing. You know, in Star Wars, the Death Star corridors, they kind of look like the same as the ships, you know, the Star Destroyers. They had, because it's the same set, right? So I thought, that's cool. How about inside my airships? They have the same design as the megacity. And then you can just use the same model, but like prompt it differently, you know? Make it grander, and it makes it look like it's a big city. Make it all tight and claustrophobic, and you think it's the engine room for some science fiction deal, right? Anyway, I've done enough talking about regularization. You get it. It's empty scenes. Okay. I've seen other people use it, by the way, for other humans than the one that you're training. And apparently it can improve things like skin and stuff. But I've never used it like that. Just a little side note. So anyway, you've seen my character. You've seen the reg. Now what about buff? Now this is the new experiment I did today. Because I know a lot of people have SDXL datasets. They have 1024 size. But they've also done a bunch of cool upscales of those. So what I did was I took some of my favorite upscales from WAN 22 that were trained on the same images we're retraining now. Okay, and there's a bit of a mental he did the what, but I just mean I'm taking, I've trained this data set before on Flux, on WAN, so I'm taking some of my favorite outputs, recaptioning them, and putting them in this folder. Now they're all 4K, which is why I call them buff, right? They're above HD, aren't they? So let's have a look. So as you can see, all of these are a mixture of either WAN, C-Dream 4, it's mostly WAN and C-Dream 4, WAN 22 and C-Dream 4. So that's C-Dream, these are all WAN. See how good the guns are with WAN 22? They're literally just exactly the guns. Anyway. We have some cool watercolor stuff coming from C-Dream as well. Watercolor ink line work. So there we have our character. And obviously these ones are much more highly detailed because it's 4K close-ups, right? And so what I've done then is I've said, okay, we'll add them in and I'll show you how we did it because it's so easy. Kudos to the Ostris team. I've been training all my models on Ostris, but using API, and I hadn't seen their new front end is so cool. It's very modern, right? But anyway, what happens is, as I said, you make your data sets and then you go new job. So this is the bit that you've been waiting for. I'm sorry to drag it out, but I like to try and give you all the information. So if I was going to be training this Lora again, this is what I would do. I would put in first the name. So let's say Thora V2A, because I don't know what's going to happen next. Now this is fine for run pod, just leave it on GPUO. And we're going to say my trigger word, so the trigger word TH0RR4. So we break up. You should probably know about this if you're a model trainer, but if you didn't, it's a good idea to replace your consonants with, vowels. Replace your vowels with numbers. Okay, a bit of leet speak goes a long way. It'll stop the caption clip. I'm not going to go into it. It works. Unique token. It's a great idea. So what we're going to do is go drop down. I don't mean to like re-explain everything from scratch every time, guys. Let's pick up the pace. So Z image turbo with training adapter. This is built in. If you have the latest Ostrus, you're good. Okay. Low VRAM is fine. And let's see. I do change the save every to 500. So every 500 steps it will save me a checkpoint and it will do me a bunch of samples. Okay, you don't need to change anything else up here. This is all looking fine. So then we come down to the training. I leave everything alone. I did experiment with higher learning rates. I experiment with higher steps. I actually found that you can cook this model by overtraining it. So if you go too far, it will produce a weird texture on the screen. It'll be very obvious. You'll notice it in the samples. I was hoping there would be a Prodigy, but at the moment there's just Adam, Waitbit and Ada. I didn't see much difference, so I'm just leaving it with... If I don't see an improvement, I generally test everything, and if I don't see an improvement, I'll just leave it on the standard settings that they recommend. I do say sigmoid for the time step, and I do say cache text embeddings, because that'll actually, it does unload the text encoder once you've done with your embedding stage. So that will help this to make it a lot less. I saw it as low as 7.5 gigabyte when I was doing small image data sets. So larger image, high resolution, will go up to 16. Anyway, there are other options here I've never seen before and haven't had a chance to test. So I've never seen this one or this one before. Okay. So now we come to the dataset section. So right now we've got Thora WAN, so that's the first one. Yeah, that's just the SDXL characters, right? So I'll say cache latents, and this is SDXL, so I'll go 512, 768, 1024. That's fine. That's fine. I don't put anything in here because I think it might overwrite, but I don't know. I don't know everything about this. I've never used this front end. I'm just communicating what worked for me and what I know will work for you. There's far more here which, yeah, you could mess with, like FlipX is usually an interesting one, but it depends. So we're going to add 2 more data sets, okay? So what I'll do is I'll add the reg first. Regularization, yes. It's the same size. The regularizations, they are the same size. They're basically, these two were split in half. So I split my character and my empty scenes, and I used the empty scenes for regularization, and I used that there. So there you go. They're the same size though, right? So then finally for the buff, we do the same thing, but we just say, I actually turn those off. Okay? So then I'm only training 1024, 1280, 1536 bucket sizes with the 4K set. Does that make sense? So then all of your close-ups are actually being trained with the high-res stuff. Yeah. It seems to work nicely, guys. And like I said, you can tweak this with your own flavor. So if you have a favorite caption dropout rate, you know, all this different stuff, you know, you could probably even anyway, I don't want to speculate. Let's move on. So 500 for the sample. This is a really cool sampler as well. I normally turn the previews off because they normally suck, but these are actually good. So if I go here, I don't do any of these, but obviously these are useful. All right. Now what I do is I actually just put in, like, say it's redheaded woman, right? So I'd be like anime RR4. There we go. So anime Thora woman with red hair, and then I'll just copy that in front of all of these basic ones. But you can put in 10 of your own. I generally take it down to 8 but you know, it's going to do these every 500, right? Every 500, we're going to get 8 images, okay? And that's it. You go create job, and for all intents and purposes, we're done here, right? Now, once you've got jobs, you can go into the training queue, and you'll see mine are all inactive right now. So I left the pod open because I wanted to show you guys exactly what went down. So on my first run, we did Reynolds style, okay? Okay. So the first set of images, this is what you get from the model, like, what's it called? You know, no Lora. So it saves the images before doing any training. That's like 0, you know? So this is what they look like when there's been no Lora training, okay? And I'm going to be using a public domain oil painter from, like, you know, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, something like that. 300 years ago, whatever it was, okay? That's the only one that had oil painting as a token. And this is interesting as well because it shows you how strong the photographic is. So if we go down to the last one now, I'm just going to skip through the mids. Now you can see we've got the same, but now she's in oil painting style, you know what I mean? But this one, look, because of the photographic bias, barely changed. But there is no oil painting. There is no oil painting here, though, just to be clear. It says Reynolds style. So I'm probing to see how good it is with the invocation. Okay, and technically only the shark is supposed to be oil painted here. It's a pretty good bears making a house, though, right? It's not bad. So anyway, yeah, this actually does work great. I tested it out. The outputs are nice. But what we did was we kept going. So we did a DJZ test. So I started again, and I trained it slightly differently. And then I've put, you can see here, Reynolds style oil painting of woman with red hair. So I've just given it some more tokens. Yeah, because it is Reynolds style oil painting. It's not just Reynolds style. It is an oil painting style. So, but as you can see at the top, this is what it would look like without training. So you can, this is nice because you can prove that you can see the result of the learning by comparing this A/B. You can look at what it does without you, and then look at what it does after you've done the training, right? So these are good, but they're not quite what I'm looking for because I'm targeting a specific artist, right? If we come down the bottom, you can see that it's done it. You might say that the texture is overtrained, but if you've seen the originals, that is what it looks like. It's all on a canvas, you know, heavy canvas oil paintings. Okay. There aren't many horses in that period that are DJs. Okay. Bear making a log cabin. Punk rocker. So we come to the first Lora, and this is a good one for you anime peoples. So as you can see, it looks like this without any training, which is quite close to what I'm training anyway. Okay, but you can see that's a photo. No photo though, no photo token. It's just you get it because of the association. There's the writing test. It's good to include writing tests just to make sure, because what can happen is you can actually break it. You'll get to a point where you've trained your character and you've broken text as well. So I would say this is actually overtrained because I didn't give it any samples with paper texture, right? And the way I did this was experimenting with increased learning rate and then still doing 3,000 steps. So we doubled the learning rate and then still did the same number of steps. So technically it should hit at 1,500. Is this 1,500? No. Yeah, so it should hit here, or it should hit the same point it hit the first run, and I think it does. See, I'm comparing with the final image from the last round to see if it's learned the character. And it looks like her shirt has it, but she doesn't. It's kind of funny. But it's trying to get there. It's trying to do the thing. But it wasn't quite there. And when I was looking through, where's the one that we went with? We went with 2000 in the end. Was it this one? No. It might have been that one. It's kind of tough because she hasn't got the characteristic haircut yet. It's close, but not quite. Right? So I wasn't happy with it. And I went through, and I think that it was a case of the way they apply the trigger. So when I think the first time I trained it, I made a mistake because where's the actual job? Right. Yeah, no trigger word. You see? Because I was rushing through it all. I put the name in, and then I chose the thing. I checked in all these things, checking all these things. Came down, and where is it? Yeah, and then I put it in here. Right? That's not what you do. So I think what I ended up doing was recaptioning my entire data set with just that, and then having no trigger. So I point that out because it's like, I did it, anyone can do it, right? And it was just purely that I didn't read this, and then I read that and went, put the caption, put it there. No, put nothing there, and then put Thora there. You know, whatever your trigger is. I know it's obvious, it actually literally says it. Literally says it right there on the screen. But hey, I made the mistake because I was going too fast. That's what happens. So, and also, this had regularization and the character all in one go. It's not as good. You want to split it up. It's like I said, regularization is back, baby. So anyway, it's easy to make mistakes like that when you're just going too fast. Just take it slow and check everything again is what I say. But sometimes I don't do it either. Okay. So if we go to Sharona V6, so this one's already done. And this one's come out perfectly. All right. So I just want to show you that. So if we go to the first image, it's generic girl with dancey clothes, right? Because, you know, she's got the outfit, but it's like a Korean cosplay or something, yeah? It's not the same, you know, it's the words and the description is correct, but it's like any woman wearing a Sharona outfit with a vague maid themes. What the hell? Isn't that 2B? 2B with a Sharona outfit? So anyway, this is what you would typically get from the full prompt that I'm training. The others were just test prompts to see what would happen, you know, with different prompts. Okay. So this is what you would have gotten out of something like Seedream or GPT if you wanted to take one of my prompts and put it through, you know, an online service. You'd get something like this. And that's actually really encouraging because that puts this, you know, toe to toe with some of the bigger models, but it's a local model. You don't need, yeah. So anyway, as we go through the epochs, you can see at 500, we've already got a lot of the character style there, right? So that's what it looked like before, and this is only 500 steps. And it's already got a lot of the sort of hallmarks there. Obviously, that's 500 steps, right? So it's going to be slowly moving towards, you can even see the outline styling, which is starting to appear, right? Haven't broken the text yet, but this is what it looks like. It's basically there, but you know, now it's just can we make it better, right? So obviously we continue the training because she still looks very Asian, which she is vaguely Asian, but she's not supposed to be actually Korean. And I say supposed to, does it matter? She's not photorealistic anyway. So this is getting closer to my work now. And before we had to get Seedream, you know, Seedream and 122. So it was a paid API combined with the biggest, you know, 18 gigabyte video model or whatever. And you can see she's slowly getting closer, because she does have an identity in the Lora. You know, it's a consistent character identity, Lora. So it needs to... This is why I use this, because I know what the character looks like. If it doesn't look like her, it doesn't look like her. And that's the end of it. And it is getting closer and closer. As we go through, you can see slowly, slowly, slowly. This is the penultimate as well. For some reason, you don't get a sample for the last one. You just get the model. Not really a big deal. But like I said, once you actually run those images at full size... Ooh. Wow, that's cool. Big, big, big door. Crazy. So anyway, yeah, so we come back to the latest training run. Check out the samples. So this one was tricky because, again, when you're testing it with sample prompts, you really need to... This is sample prompts, guys. This one here is mine, and this one here is mine. So we've got one for the background, and then we've got one for the character. So this is how I know it's done, right? There's the character. So if you've seen any of the pictures of that character, it's the correct face, you know? Like, you can talk about, oh, is this one actually better? You know, oh, is this one actually better? No, that still looks like a bit generic. That is correct, but is it better than that? Do you know what? I think that might be overtrained. I think that might be a better... Yeah, that is better, actually. What's that? 2,500. I'll have to test that versus the 3,000 version. Okay. But then... What the heck? On the background here, that's better. That looks identical to the old SDXL re-rendered in Flux. Retrained. So anyway, if anybody's interested, if you are like into the sort of this side of things, I mean, look, the configs are sort of like mostly irrelevant because you don't really get to, you know, it's depending on what images you're using for a lot of it. So. But, you know, you can see here it's using linear 3232. It does say convolution is 1616, but I never actually saw that in the logs. It says it's using Lora. So if anyone remembers what that is, it's a type of Lora, like Lycoris. So Lora. Alright. So that's interesting, right? It's not Lora Lycoris, it's Lora Lora. LOKR for people that can't read that one on their screen. We used flow match, noise scheduler, Adam Waitbit, Sigmoid. But like I said, if you follow the on-screen instructions and just fill it out like we've gone through today, you'll see what I mean. And like I said, it was very straightforward. I'm just trying to think now, where did we get the link that led to the run pod? Crude tan catfish. Look, I've been up for 15 hours. My God. I think it's time to stop it. I've already got everything off there that I needed to get off there. Let me just grab this image spread and this image spread. I'll probably end up making my own anyway, but okay. Good times. Stop. Stop. Oh no. Yeah, I know. Okay, now can we find it? Now, where did we get it? I think we got it from like a public page, guys. That's why it was so easy. I was like, oh man, more of this. Right, let me Z image Turbo. So I Google Z image turbo. Not replicate. I think this just makes images. It's not actually training. So we go to Hugging Face. And is it linked here or is it on the GitHub? I bet it's... Yeah, it'd be a bit too obvious if it was here, wouldn't it? Right, GitHub. Oh, okay, there's the models, yeah. I bet it was a Reddit post, wasn't it? I bet it was a Reddit. Yeah, it was a Reddit. Look at it go, guys. For the record, it is November 30th. So I was training yesterday. I was making workflows the day before that. We were testing it on Thursday. So if you had you would have already had these workflows for this period here. I'm just trying to grab the link. Do you know what? I reckon it must have been on my other computer. Hang on a sec. I want to get the link that I had myself. Well, that's not helpful. Alright. Difficult. Turbo. Oh my god. Right, found it. Okay, so I just need that. Yeah, it's an official run pod template. So inside line, as promised. So the Z image turbo. I can type. Oi. Focus monsters. Right. There we go. Okay. This is the run pod trainer we demonstrated today. I'd say for training Lora Loker with Z Turbo. I'm just going to shorten it to Z Turbo because it sounds cool and we know it's an image model, right? Okay. It's kind of redundant. So yeah, Z Turbo is official. Let me just open it up. So this is an official Ostris run pod, okay? So you want to know who makes it and be, not getting it from some guy, which I get that. A lot of the stuff that I use, I put out my stuff, but I get why people wouldn't use it because I'm just a guy, right? At the end of the day. But Ostris is the company that made the toolkit, so it makes sense they should be doing it. So if you use the link, you come in, you're logged into your RunPod account. I got $24 here. I think I spent $12 in training 3 Loras, which I think is very reasonable. Do you know what I mean? They weren't low image count, I think the last one had hundreds of images, because there was 200 images of there was 100 images of corridors and 100 text files, so there were 200 total. So yeah, I think I had like 100 regularization, 100 from SDXL, and like maybe 50 from maybe 60 from WAN. So I think it worked out not quite an even split, but a decent spread. So probably about 250, 260 images, and it's $3. So it's cheap. It's cheap, it's fast. I don't know what more you want. As long as your captions are good, and we've automated that too. We've got captioning agents and tools which we've put out. Ostris is just a guy as well. Okay, let me be clear. It's his thing, right? It's his thing. And I bet he is a company. I bet he is or has one. You know, company is a... You can be a company of one. That's what I am. I'm a company of one. Yeah? But yeah, it's nothing to be ashamed of that you're a one-man band these days. I think it's something to be proud of. But anyway, so you've got AI Toolkit, right? Configure. Now, obviously, if you've seen RunPod before, we've explained this before, but I will explain it very quickly. If you do not need permanence, so if you just want to come in, train a Lora, get the files and get out and have it all just disappear, you do not need a permanent volume which you're paying rent for every month, okay? You can just have one spin up, do the training, and then when you're finished, make sure you download your model, obviously, but you don't need that. You can just let it poof into non-existence when you're done, and then just bring them up on demand. That's what I do. Okay, so yeah, essentially we're going to pick one. Now let's talk about that, because a lot of people get it twisted when they're selecting their GPU. These guys aren't stupid, right? They know that you're going to pick the cheap one. They know that you're going to metagame it a little bit. You're going to look and go, ooh, per hour, ooh. But if you're being honest, I mean, I did like the math. I mean, I'm sure there are some, like, maybe there's a few ones here which are like outside of the curve, but generally you're not paying for performance, you're paying for speed. So if I want to pay for the most expensive option, right? Whatever the most expensive option is. Let's see, what is the most expensive option right now? $519 for the B200. I would say that's overkill, but there's a reason. Because 180 gigabytes doesn't do you any good, right? Unless you're going to run high batch, which requires you to adjust the learning rate, so you can't just go high batch and get the same results. If you go here with the 180 gigabyte, like I said, it's overkill. You only really need 24 for this, but if you've got large images or a lot of images, you might need more than 24. Okay, now some people will tell you this trains on 8 to 16, and they're not wrong. I just want to point that out. There's nuance to everything with this. So what I've got right here, 16 gigabyte, you could train it on that. Yeah, 32 gigabyte, you could train it on that. I generally go for the A40, 48, just because there's more headroom, and I don't know, some of my models might have crazy 4K images which it doesn't like. I don't know. But it's 20 cents an hour. Okay, now which one do you think runs fastest, guys? Which one do you think goes fastest, the A40 with the 48 or the 5090 with the 32? So basically you're paying for time, not performance, is what I find when I test these. So like, just to give an example, if you train a model at £1 an hour and it takes 2 hours, you could then train a model at £2 an hour and it will take half an hour. So they get the same amount of money no matter what you choose. So really the difference you're paying for is how quick do you want it? Do you want it slow or fast? Because you're going to pay the same amount in the end. Well, that's just my experience. Obviously, your mileage may vary depending on what you're doing. But I find that you pay more per hour and it runs faster as long as you didn't get gigabytes of VRAM that you're not even using. You see what I mean? So like if you went with the 180 gigabyte VRAM and then trained in batch 1, there was absolutely no reason for you to do that, right? You could probably train in batch 20 or something silly, okay? But then you'd have to adjust the learning rate. So it's not as simple as just changing one value and getting fast results. You've got to do it a couple times to get that batch value and that learning rate synced up to get good results, what you want, okay? But again, it would be so quick, it probably wouldn't take long. You use a 10 image set to figure it out. You could probably do it. Maybe 100 images, just to be fair. So anyway, like I said, long story short, what did I use? I used... I think I used the... No, I didn't do the A40. I think I did the 6000. I think I went with the 6000, which admittedly is overkill. You could do it on an L4, you could do it on a 4090, you could do it on a 4090. Occasionally I saw the RAM peak over 25, which is the only reason why I was like, do you know what? Just go with the... and the 32, this is the only one I think that's 32. So normally it goes 24 and then there's a jump to 48. So like the 5090 fills a strange gap in the market at the moment, where if you want more than 24, generally you got to buy 48, which is double. And some people, they only want to go half as far, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever it is. But yeah, like I said, unless you're going to take like a high batch config, you don't need all of that VRAM. Like I said, I think 32 is probably about right. So 76 an hour. Or if you don't care about it being really, really fast, you could do the A40. But it's going to take like, say this is what, half, or maybe 3 times less, 3 times as long. You see what I mean? It's going to... It's not exactly like that, but that's the flavor. So obviously, say we were going to pick this one. It's then going to say choose a name and deploy. Okay. How many GPUs do you want? Bloody hell, I want 10. Again, don't just pick more, because what you're doing has to support parallel ops for a start. Anyway, so you're going to go deploy on demand. Now, when that runs, it's going to... do you know what? I might just show you. Yeah, let's just show you. So when it opens up here, you're going to see logs. It's going to be downloading everything. As soon as those logs are finished, you're going to go to connect. And then there'll be a link that says connect to the web page. Oh man, we're going to have to let it do it, aren't we? Yeah, we're going to have to let it do it. Oh, no, wait. No, we're not. Yeah, no, we're not. Stop it. Terminate it. Okay, so this is the one I was using earlier. RTX 6000 Ada. So apparently they let me pause it now. That's a new feature. Normally it's just gone forever. So you can start it back up for 77. But there's a link which I believe I showed at the very beginning. I'm not sure. I might have shown. The point is, I've done my best there for you. Yeah. That's the best. Yeah. Okay. So again, these workflows are already available on the GitHub somewhere. They're somewhere on the GitHub. And there's that JSON stuff I was going on about. Five cats in a trench coat. That's good. Yeah, obviously if Civit AI Trainer has Z-Image, I used to recommend them highly, and I still would if they let your country access their website. And I don't know if they let your country access their website. I'm in the UK and they don't, so all bets are off. I've got no idea. I do not know. Do you know what? I'm working on a solution to get an update for that, by the way. I'm working on a solution. I won't be able to do it very often. But, yeah, this is like kind of like the stupidity of everything, It's like, how hard would it be to just verify the people that are real? Whatever. The thing is, though, you saw what happened, didn't you? As soon as they brought that stupid law out, people were using Death Stranding to make fake IDs. And I'm just like, guys, it's 2025. What are you even trying to do? Anyway, I don't... Let's not get into it. It was so silly. Yeah, I can't be bothered with the workarounds. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, what, have I got to log in to something else now? It's such a ball ache. Can't be bothered. You know? It's like it killed the interest for me. But I would like to update the profile. I enjoyed putting stuff up there. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have kept doing it for so long. But when you just get arbitrarily blocked from the platform, and it's like everyone in your entire country. I mean, what am I supposed to say about that? Like, what if America imagine you wake up the next day, America's banned now. When you go to the website, it says this. Ready? Here. Look, I'll click on my name. So you go here, right? Just insert, search, replace UK with USA. What do? There's nothing you can do if that happens, right? Because it's a government level thing, you know? And so I'm just like, well, okay. Do you know what I mean? There's like nothing you can do, is there? It's like, oh, well, I guess that's the end of that then. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're committed. It doesn't matter if you post every day. It doesn't matter if you put loads of articles and models and you do all this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In the end, you get blocked by your own government somehow. I'm like, what? I didn't see. Look, it wasn't on my bingo card. That's all I'll say. You know, UK government will block you from logging into your own account on a American website. That wasn't something that I could have predicted, you know. Call it a black swan event. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, we've got the tiling method. You've seen it before. You'll see it again. Hypertile didn't work. Don't do it. It might just be my lack of memory. I do have memory problems. But I've been hearing that people are able to actually train Z-image Loras with 12 gigabyte GPU. So I'm not sure about 8. I think that's you're squashing things down quite a bit there, you know. There's no woman in there. What's happened? It's just the background. Okay, 120. I mean, look, it's making good corridors, but they get a bit wobbly as they get far away. But to be honest, you could say it learned that from the source image. Okay, there she is. Do you know what? Let's see if we can break it. Catch the next one in the upscaler. But yeah, that's pretty much the scoop, guys. So I tried to front load the show tonight to get it all out, but essentially it's like, yep, you've got a cool run pod, which makes it super easy for anybody to train. If you don't have a GPU, if you have a GPU, just download Ostrus to your local machine. You can run it locally, and it's exactly the same interface. It makes good, you know what I mean? It makes good. I do get some weird stuff though, but I guess it's just bad seed, you know. Oh, what happened? Oh, it died. He's dying. Watchdog. God damn it, Watchdog. Man, I'm suddenly ravenous. I can eat a horse. Yeah, that's gone now. I turned it off. Okay. So the only thing I was a little bit concerned about is that this Lora trainer is very new, and there is actually a PT optimizer that comes with your Lora when you finish training it. But I don't know if that optimizer is just for making the Lora, or if you're supposed to get that with the Lora, because I've seen systems where you have an embedding with your Lora in the past, and I don't know if that's a thing or if it's just the reward model. I don't know. But really what I'm waiting for is an IP adapter. I think an IP adapter would go a long way. It does make you wonder, like, would the Flux IP adapter that already exists be adaptable or work somehow? But I think that it might be so different because they've got some new stuff in this architecture. Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah, I'd say this is about accurate. That's crazy. So yeah, oh look, they're using ELO as well. So it's the chess tournament scoring system. Huh. Damn, it's close. Because look, I'll be honest, guys. I've not used Imagen 4 Ultra Preview. Wait, what? When did that come out? There's another one? God damn it. I can't believe it, there's another one. Literally, I come in here, I'm like, yeah, I reckon that's about right. And the number one I've never heard of. What? I mean, I know what Imagen 4 is, but I didn't know there was an Ultra Preview 606 model. I didn't know about that specifically. Gemini 2.5. Obviously, we like this. Wait a minute. Is that just Banana Pro? Hang on a minute, because look, that looks like this is... You take the preview off the end, and that's Nano Banana, right? So is this just Nano Banana Pro, and Google are like schizoid and they keep changing the name? They're like, no, it's called Gemini 3.0 Image Preview Pro. And then no, it's called Imagen 4 Beta 606. No, it's called Nano Banana Pro. It's called Nano. They keep changing the bloody name. At least it's better than Microsoft. Microsoft would have just called it Microsoft Image. You know, it would have been Microsoft Image for Windows. That's what it would have been. So, you know, I can't really complain. So Watch Dogs saved me again. Right, let's try not to just blow it up immediately this time. Oop. Make me some stuff. 3,000. Yes. I feel like maybe 2,500 might be better, actually. Oh crap. I just got scammed. Stop. There we go. Oh, by the way, why did I decide to go back to OpenRouter again? Okay, we need to talk about that. So, Olama, some of the Olama models aren't smart enough to make actual JSON that works. But when you're feeding JSON into an input, it doesn't need to work. It just needs to look like it's right. Okay? I don't know, Zanelli. I don't know. He says, wasn't Nano Banana the AI Arena code name for it? I don't know. Nano Banana is an actual... They're a group. The people behind... There's a Nano Banana team, right? That actually built the thing for Google. But it's weird. They've got like multiple marketing names. But I wouldn't be surprised if because Imagen 4 comes from Google. Should we just find out? Imagen 4, June. So Imagen 4 came out in June. 2K model. Looks like it's Nano Banana Pro, but like maybe it's the model that runs behind Banana. I don't know. But like I said, it's confusing when they have 3 names for the same thing. That's all. It's just confusing. Anyway. Very cool, very cool. Keeps crashing. Have I run out of hard drive space again? Hang on. Let me check. Because that happens. Whoa. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. The reason it's crashing is actually on me. I've got less hard drive space on C than the size of my swap file. So it's just going to crash now. It's my fault for continuing to make more stuff and not archiving it. Ruiz says, has anyone else made the statement that Z-Image feels like the SDXL V2 we wanted? It's fast and lightweight. Yeah, I actually could go further than that, Rui. I think it's actually somewhere between Flux and WAN. So for image generation, you can get similar quality to WAN 2.2, which is an 18 gigabyte model when quantized, but running under 8 gigabytes. And then when you consider it can do tiling and stuff, you know, it's like that's your upscaler, that's your that's a lot of stuff. And then we're now finding out that the training is cheap too. So I agree with the sentiment, but I would say this is the Flux 2 we wanted actually, because the thing is that Flux 2 is too big. Even a 5090 can't run it without quantization. So, you know, we were expecting Flux 2 this summer, and it came this Christmas. So it took 18 months for Flux 2 to come out. But an SDXL was like 2 years ago now. It's crazy, right? Yeah. It's so crazy. Time flies. But yeah, I'm liking the fact that it's so easy to train. So we spent the first hour of the show talking about training and how you can get all of that done. And walking through the process, and then we've been looking at my results. So but yeah, it is very good. So like I said, I trained 16 Loras overnight. Yeah, 16 Loras overnight since the show we did yesterday. Which is not bad. Not bad. Right, the only thing I'll say is we have something which is a diagonal line which it appears sometimes. That's the only thing I've noticed, and to be honest, you have to really look to see it. And I got this thing, nobody's gonna zoom in like this far on a 4K image, right? You probably wouldn't even see that when you've blown it up. You probably wouldn't even see that texture even if you printed it out. But I can't not mention it. There is a diagonal. You can see lines like someone ran sandpaper over the image. You can see lines, and they're prevalent. It's weird though, it's not everywhere. It's only in like certain shades of grey. So I think you get away with it. I think honestly you get away with it. Like you can, yeah, see, they do show up. certain things it's more obvious than others. But that's the only thing I could find. It makes less mistakes than Flux. It seems to get the character. That's quite low. Oh my god. Be careful, Doc. Be careful. You get yourself in trouble. And then we look at what we were getting from... Yeah. No Lora. This is just prompting. So this is just prompting. And it's very consistent from just the prompt. Yeah. Oh no, the pattern is a diagonal lines. It's diagonal lines. It looks like sandpaper. Like I said, I was just trying to find it so I could show you an example. It's difficult because you have to zoom all the way in, and I'm like, well, if you have to blow it up to 4K to even see it, and you have to zoom in way beyond 100%, it's like, well, I don't think it's really a big deal. But if someone asked me, you know, yeah, that's the only thing which I noticed. So what's this? Yeah, see? That's a 4K. If we zoom in on it, it's not quite as crisp on the edges as you would get. But I mean, come on, man. It took a minute. It took 1 minute. 1 minute and 8 gigabytes. And it is the character. She's in the outfit. The background is in the style. The gun's actually better than it would normally be. But... so it's like, you win, but then you lose. But then you can just make another one. It takes 7 seconds. So it's like, well, if it takes 7 seconds to make the first image, when she's missing a finger, is it quicker to just make another image or try and fix the finger? You know, it's probably just make another image. It's kind of interesting anyway. I suppose it depends how much you really like that shot. Nothing to stop you from in-painting the hand. Said image, now in comfy. This is the test prompt. She's going to keep coming up. Okay, so these ones were done with WAN. Did I do WAN with these? No. No, that's not WAN. It's upscaled. You can see the lines though. You see what I mean? When you have to go in that far to even see it. You see what I mean? It's like, come on, man. I can see the pixels at this point. So it's like if you've got to zoom in all the way to the pixels to notice what I'm even talking about. It's not everywhere, see? It's only on certain things. It's not brush strokes. It's like pencil lines, but they're all going the same way and they're all parallel. But you can only see it on darker areas. It's very similar to the old Flux upscaling thing we had with tiling, where it would be up and down lines. Vertical lines only. And this is like the same thing, but it's kind of like they're all on the same angle. You see that? You can see these lines here. And then there's more here, same angle. That's the only thing. Literally, and this is like, I feel like it's a nitpick. You know? I mean, these are great images. They're not bad at all. Like, could it be a bit sharper? Yeah, it could probably be a bit sharper. See, to be honest, it just looks a little bit like JPEG compression, don't you think? I mean, it's not. But it just looks a bit like it's lossy, little lossy. And to be honest, I don't mind because everything looks too clean these days anyway. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. We tried color match to see if it would help, and it did not. Where's all the real images? These aren't all the images. Ah, here we go, doing the wrong. Right. Yeah, okay. So, like, even when, can we put it on fit? Do we not have a fit? No fit. This is a 500 epoch, or 500 steps, or whatever. 500 epoch, oh my god. But yeah, this is undertrained, but you can see how it kind of already has an idea of what the words and the prompts mean without needing, you know. And so then it's like you're getting closer to the concept by continuing to train, you know. The background's so good. Okay. And I think 2500 is where we ended up. Get ready. Oh, wait. Oh, you've run out of tokens. There we go, we're back in business. Oh, was I using the wrong? Yeah, I used the wrong prompt enhancer. It had the Sharona prompt enhancer plugged in, and so it kept on trying to make Sharona. But yeah, you want to illustrate your character into a world. Very easy to take that world and that character, train it into a Lora, and then just get to work. I mean, you know, are these the best images of this character I have? No, but they're definitely the best images I've ever done. You know, it's like it takes 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds to make the initial image, and that image is like 1700 by 1000, so that's pretty big actually. And then like I say, that's the fastest, and you've never been able to do it on the smallest, you know, small hardware. So, and like I said, I mean, you know, does it wander a little bit? Yeah, it does a bit. There's a bad seed mentality here coming into play, but for the most part, she's in the same outfit. It's the same girl. To be honest, even with the WAN and Flux, you know, you get stuff like the eye colors changed or the outfit changed a bit. I mean, this is very, very consistent when you consider that. Very, very consistent. Like, does it wander about a bit? Yeah, it does. Every now and then her identity sort of shifts a little bit, but it's very close. Like I said, for a model that's going to run on an 8GB GPU, it's actually crazy. Yeah, she's almost wearing the exact same outfit every time. Almost. You get a bit of big head stuff, you know. Headphones keep coming up as well. Headphones when you don't ask for them. We haven't seen any yet. Have we seen all of these? Am I just going round and around and around? To be honest, they're based on a set of stubs which gets enhanced by randomization, so they're probably going to be a bit samey. But there's no pose being sent into this. In the past, I do image-to-image randomization, so it'll look at the image, use the image, estimate the pose, rewrite the prompt, and it'll give you like different prompt editing, automated, yeah? But for this one, it's straight text-to-image. It's just text-to-image. So we're purely testing whether it learned the character. And I think it did. I mean, it's just a redhead Ghost in the Shell type deal, right? That's what it basically is. Ghost in the Shell, but she's got a redhead. Yeah. Wait. No, we're still going. They looked samey because it's the same-ish prompt. Oh, yeah, here we go with the double doors. I think that's the end. Yeah, it was. Yeah, and then the guns start going funny. There we go, that's the end. Alright. So, if you missed the start of the show, first things first. Model sampling flux, 1.25. So 1 to 1.25. I always recommended with flux to use 1 and 1. We used to call it boosted shift because we weren't actually giving it a window. We were just making it boost it to 1 and then pinning both values there, which had a good effect. Okay, so with Schnell, it had a good effect with Schnell. And this is an 8-step model with 0 CFG. So I saw it as a candidate to apply any trick that you can do with Schnell. I was like, we need to try those tricks and see if they apply. You know, this isn't really a trick because it has a flux VAE. So obviously it's got a high likelihood that some of the additional flux nodes are going to work with it. No guarantee, like I said, but a good likelihood, I'd say. So that's what we tested. It works. Like I said, if I was to turn that off, I will get a worser imager. But you know, it's subjective. You know, you might disagree. Your mileage may vary, different prompt approaches, all that good stuff. But yeah, this what I'm doing is I'm sending a preset aspect ratio which sets my size. So it's 16:9 at Quen, 1328 by 1328. We have the Zenkai prompt system loaded up with the prompt list for this model, which is the captions it was trained on, or some of them. We also have Q8. That's what we're using, the Q8. Is it image turbo? So I could probably get more. I could get more quality by not using the Q8 version. You see. But I always like to use what everyone is going to use, not because what I can use isn't what everyone can use necessarily, right? So I try to see what people are actually going to use. I think they're going to use Q8 Jajuf, or they're going to use the FP8 repack from Kijai, which is up on the official Comfy site now. But yeah, I'm using the double agent workflow in case you missed it. So that is an ENH to make my bad prompt good, and then the JSON direct expert that was added to the ENH system, and that will just make me. So here's what the actual prompt looks like in case you were interested. JSON. Scene, subjects, description, position, action, pose, color palette, description, color palette, description, position, color palette, style, color palette. It's structured, you know. Camera, f-stop, 2.8. All right. I think that's pretty much the show. Yeah, we're going to end a little bit early tonight. I wanted to get everything out in one video, so we've got the Z Image Turbo Lora training introduction, lots of tips on how to use the run pod stuff, and then workflow tips as well. Again, guys, all the workflows are up on my GitHub, so you can go ahead and just pick them up. The links are in the inside line, scuffedepoch.com, and also links in the description of this video. So that's just about it, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll be starting Season 3 tomorrow, so I'll be looking forward to that. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good one. I'll see you next time.
Troll it.